Ladies and gentlemen, I want to start with a question. What do you do when the pain shows up? We all experience pain in some form or another. It's part of life, the kind that tugs at your heart, weighs heavy on your mind, and makes you question if you're strong enough to keep going. But here's the truth I want you to hear today. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is not a sign that you're broken. Pain is the doorway to your growth. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, something to be avoided or hidden away. In a world that prizes strength, independence, and perfection, vulnerability can feel like an invitation to be judged or criticized. But the truth is, vulnerability is not something to fear. It is, in fact, one of the greatest strengths we can embody. When we embrace vulnerability, we are opening ourselves up to the deepest forms of connection, growth, and authenticity. Vulnerability is about being real, being honest, and allowing ourselves to be seen for who we truly are, imperfections, flaws, fears, and all. It means accepting that we don't have all the answers and that it's okay to not be perfect. It means letting go of the need for approval or validation from others and choosing instead to live in alignment with our own truth. This can be an incredibly freeing experience. It's the moment when we stop pretending to be something we're not and allow ourselves to show up fully, exactly as we are. But embracing vulnerability isn't easy. It requires courage. It requires the willingness to face discomfort head-on, to be honest about our struggles, and to confront the parts of ourselves that we'd rather hide. And yet, it is in those moments of discomfort that we grow. It is when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable that we unlock our greatest potential. We begin to see that vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but rather a sign of strength. It takes strength to be honest with ourselves, to acknowledge our fears, and to reach out for help when we need it. The act of embracing vulnerability allows us to connect with others on a much deeper level. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we create space for others to do the same. We give others permission to be open, honest, and real. And in doing so, we create more meaningful relationships built on trust and understanding. Vulnerability has the power to break down walls and bridge divides. It is through vulnerability that we learn empathy and compassion for others, because we realize that we are all human, all imperfect, all struggling in our own ways. The more we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, the more we recognize that we are not alone. In the face of vulnerability, there is also room for growth. When we acknowledge our pain, our fears, or our doubts, we open the door to healing. We stop running from our emotions and instead allow ourselves to fully experience them. Only by experiencing the fullness of our emotions can we truly understand them, process them, and ultimately transform them. Vulnerability leads to healing because it allows us to be honest about where we are and where we want to go. It's the first step toward change. The irony is that when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we actually become stronger. The strength doesn't come from pretending to have it all together, from keeping up appearances, or from hiding behind a mask of invincibility. True strength comes from the courage to show up as we are, to acknowledge our struggles, and to continue moving forward despite them. Vulnerability doesn't mean we are weak, it means we are real. And it is through our authenticity that we become more resilient, more grounded, and more capable of facing whatever comes our way. When life feels tough, when fear threatens to hold you back, remember that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to show up as you are without the need for perfection or pretense. In fact, it's the only way to truly live a fulfilled and meaningful life. Vulnerability is the gateway to connection, growth, and strength. Embrace it, and you'll find that you are capable of so much more than you ever thought possible. Shifting perspective can be one of the most transformative things we can do in life. Often when we face challenges or feel stuck, our mindset shapes how we experience those moments. We get locked into a narrow view of our circumstances, seeing only the limitations, the obstacles, or the pain. This tunnel vision keeps us from seeing the bigger picture or recognizing the potential for growth and change. But when we can shift our perspective, we unlock new possibilities. Suddenly, the challenges we face become opportunities, and the difficulties we experience can serve as stepping stones to something greater. Changing how we view the world around us starts with recognizing that our perception is not fixed. It's fluid, and it's shaped by our past experiences, beliefs, and emotions. The way we interpret events or situations is influenced by how we've been conditioned to think, how we've been taught to see things, and how we feel in the moment. But none of these perspectives are permanent. We have the power to reframe our thoughts, to adjust how we interpret what's happening, and to open ourselves up to new ways of thinking. One powerful shift in perspective is recognizing that pain and struggle are not signs of failure, but rather signals of growth. We live in a culture that often equates difficulty with weakness or defeat, but in reality, facing challenges is where our most profound transformations happen. When we shift our focus from viewing pain as a barrier to seeing it as a teacher, we open ourselves up to the lessons it offers. Instead of seeing a setback as something that defines us or holds us back, we can start to see it as an opportunity for development, a chance to learn resilience, patience, and strength. Shifting perspective also means embracing uncertainty. When things feel out of control or when the future is unclear, it's easy to become anxious or fearful. We try to hold on to the familiar, to the safe and predictable, but growth rarely happens in comfort zones. By shifting our view of uncertainty, we can see it as a space full of possibility. Instead of fearing what we don't know, we can learn to welcome it, knowing that it's in the unknown that new ideas, new experiences, and new opportunities can arise. Uncertainty invites us to be more creative, to think outside the box, and to take chances we might not have taken otherwise. Another important shift in perspective is learning to see failure not as an endpoint, but as a part of the process. In our culture, we often place so much weight on success and achievement, and failure is seen as something to avoid at all costs. However, when we shift our view, we realize that failure is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. It is through failure that we learn, adjust, and grow. Every setback carries with it an invaluable lesson, and each time we get back up after falling, we grow stronger. When we change our perspective, we start to see the connections between things we once thought were unrelated. The struggles we face today may be leading us to the breakthroughs we'll experience tomorrow. The things we find difficult now may eventually be the source of our deepest strength. By seeing life through a different lens, we become more open, more adaptive, and more resilient. Shifting perspective allows us to reclaim our power. We no longer feel like victims of our circumstances, but rather active participants in our own stories. When we change how we see things, we change how we respond to them. And when we respond from a place of empowerment and possibility, life begins to shift in ways we never imagined. It's a reminder that we don't have to be limited by our current circumstances or their beliefs. The way we perceive the world can change, and with that change, so too can our reality. Resilience is one of the most powerful qualities a person can possess. It is the ability to endure, adapt, and rise above challenges, not just surviving adversity, but growing through it. Life is full of unexpected turns, difficult times, and moments that test our strength. Yet, it is in these very moments that resilience is built. The power of resilience lies not in avoiding hardship, but in our ability to face it, learn from it, and emerge stronger than we were before. Resilience is not about being unaffected by difficulty. It is about how we respond when life gets tough. It's about having the courage to stand up after we've been knocked down and the determination to keep going even when the road ahead seems unclear or overwhelming. Resilience is rooted in our mindset, in the belief that we are capable of overcoming challenges and that setbacks are not the end of the road, but merely part of the journey. One of the most remarkable things about resilience is that it is not a fixed trait. It is not something you are simply born with or without. Resilience is something we can cultivate, strengthen, and develop over time. Every time we face difficulty and choose to keep going, we become more resilient. Each obstacle we overcome, whether big or small, adds to our internal reservoir of strength. We begin to realize that we are capable of handling more than we once thought possible. The power of resilience also lies in its ability to transform adversity into growth. When life presents us with hardship, it can be easy to see it as an insurmountable obstacle, something that will break us. But resilient people understand that challenges, while painful, also provide opportunities for personal development. Struggles help us discover new strengths, develop new skills, and gain a deeper understanding of who we are. Resilience is not about avoiding pain, but about embracing it and using it as a stepping stone to personal transformation. When we face challenges head on, we not only learn how to navigate them, but we also learn more about our values, our desires, and our capacity for compassion and understanding. In times of adversity, resilience also brings hope. It's easy to lose sight of the future when you're in the midst of a storm, but resilience allows us to keep moving forward with faith that things will get better. The resilient person knows that the tough times won't last forever and that with each passing day, we get closer to the light at the end of the tunnel. Resilience provides the strength to keep going, even when the finish line seems far away. It reminds us that there is always the potential for change, for new opportunities, and for growth, no matter how difficult things may seem at the moment. Another important aspect of resilience is the ability to adapt. Life does not always go according to plan. We may face setbacks that completely alter the course of our journey, but resilience allows us to be flexible. Instead of resisting change, resilient people learn to adjust, finding new ways to navigate their challenges and staying open to different paths. Resilience is not about sticking rigidly to the original plan, but about finding strength in our ability to adapt and keep moving forward, even when circumstances shift unexpectedly. The power of resilience is ultimately about reclaiming our agency, our ability to shape our own destiny, despite the challenges we face. It's a reminder that we are not defined by our struggles, but by how we rise in the face of them. When we build resilience, we tap into an inner strength that empowers us to face anything life throws our way. It is this strength that allows us to keep pushing forward, to hold on to hope, and to trust that no matter what happens, we have the capacity to overcome and thrive. Connection and compassion are two of the most profound forces we have as human beings. In a world that often feels divided, where individuals sometimes feel isolated or disconnected from others, these qualities remind us of what truly matters, the bonds we form with each other and the kindness we show in times of need. Connection is the thread that ties us together, while compassion is the glue that keeps us united, helping us navigate both our joys and our struggles. Human beings are inherently social creatures. We are not meant to navigate life alone, and the need for connection is deeply ingrained in us. Connection is not just about being in close proximity to others, it's about feeling seen, heard, and understood. It's about sharing our experiences, both the highs and the lows, and recognizing that we are not alone in this journey. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to open up to others, we create opportunities for true connection. This connection transcends surface-level interactions and invites us to engage more deeply, to share our real selves with others, and to build relationships that are authentic and meaningful. In a world that can sometimes feel disconnected, it's easy to become consumed by loneliness or to believe that no one understands what we're going through. But in truth, we all experience pain, loss, joy, and hope. Every person we encounter is carrying their own story, filled with their own challenges and triumphs. When we make an effort to connect, to reach out with openness and empathy, we begin to see that we are all part of a shared human experience. Connection reminds us that we are not islands, we are part of a greater whole. Our individual struggles are not isolated, they are part of the universal human condition. When we truly see each other, we understand that no one has to face their journey alone. But connection alone is not enough. It must be paired with compassion. Compassion is the ability to feel another person's pain and respond with kindness, understanding, and a desire to ease their suffering. Compassion is what allows us to bridge the gap between our own experiences and those of others. It's the ability to sit with someone in their discomfort, to offer a listening ear, and to show up in a way that says, I see you and I care. Compassion doesn't require us to have all the answers or to fix someone's problems. It simply requires us to be present, to offer our humanity and kindness in the face of another's vulnerability. The power of connection and compassion is immense because they create a sense of belonging. When we are connected to others and when we respond to their needs with compassion, we build a community of support and care. We are reminded that we are not alone, that our struggles are shared, and that there is strength in unity. Compassion also cultivates empathy, allowing us to put ourselves in another person's shoes and experience life from their perspective. This empathy deepens our connection with others, fostering a sense of trust, respect, and mutual understanding. It's through compassion that we learn to look beyond our own experiences and see the world through the eyes of others, allowing us to connect on a deeper, more profound level. In times of hardship, connection and compassion become even more crucial. When we face pain, loss, or adversity, the power of these two qualities can be a lifeline. The simple act of reaching out to someone in need, offering a kind word, or simply being present can make all the difference. Connection reminds us that we are never truly alone, and compassion provides the healing balm for wounds, both seen and unseen. In a world that often emphasizes individual achievement and success, these qualities remind us that the most important thing we can do is care for one another, to show up with love and kindness in the face of life's challenges. When we choose connection and compassion, we choose to build a world that values relationships over isolation, kindness over indifference, and understanding over judgment. It is through these acts of connection and compassion that we discover our shared humanity, our capacity for love, and the incredible strength that lies in caring for each other. There are moments in life when the world feels heavy, when darkness seems to close in, and when it feels like everything around us is crumbling. These are the moments that test us, the moments that bring us face to face with our deepest fears and uncertainties. Yet it is precisely in these moments that we discover the true depth of our courage. The courage to face the dark is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to walk through it, to confront it head on, and to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear. Courage is often misunderstood as something that comes naturally to certain people. We admire those who seem fearless, who charge forward without hesitation, but true courage is something different. Courage isn't about the absence of fear, it's about feeling the fear, acknowledging it, and choosing to act anyway. It is about trusting in our own strength, even when we feel uncertain or overwhelmed. It's about understanding that while the dark may feel daunting, it is not permanent. There is always the possibility of light, even in the darkest of times. The courage to face the dark requires vulnerability. When we acknowledge that we are afraid, that we don't have all the answers, or that we're unsure of what the future holds, we open ourselves up to real growth. It's easy to hide from the dark, to pretend it doesn't exist, or to distract ourselves with temporary solutions. But facing the dark head-on means sitting with our discomfort, sitting with our fears, and being honest about our struggles. It's in this space of vulnerability that true courage is born. It takes courage to be honest with ourselves about our pain, our doubt, or our insecurities. It's the first step in transforming fear into power. The courage to face the dark also involves letting go of the need for control. So often we are terrified of the unknown. We want certainty, security, and predictability. But the truth is that life is unpredictable. There will always be things beyond our control. When we face the darkness, we must surrender to the uncertainty and trust that we will find our way through, even if we cannot see the end from where we stand. This is not an easy task, but it is one of the most powerful acts of courage we can perform. It is in surrendering that we begin to find the strength to move forward, even without knowing what lies ahead. Facing the dark also means recognizing that we are not alone. We often think that our struggles are unique, that no one else could possibly understand what we're going through. But the truth is, we all experience moments of fear, uncertainty, and hardship. When we open ourselves to the darkness, we often find that others are walking through it with or standing beside us physically or offering their support from a distance. The courage to face the dark is not always about standing alone. It is about allowing ourselves to be supported by others and offering that same support in return. It is through these shared moments of vulnerability that we build connection and strength. Perhaps most importantly, the courage to face the dark is a choice. We can choose to let fear hold us back, to stay in the safety of the light and avoid the discomfort of the unknown. Or we can choose to take a step forward, even if that step feels small, uncertain, or terrifying. Each time we make the choice to move through fear and face the dark, we grow stronger. We learn that the dark is not something to be feared, but something that can be navigated. It teaches us to trust in our resilience, our inner strength, and our ability to adapt. The courage to face the dark is about trusting that we are capable of overcoming whatever challenges come our way. It's about recognizing that while the dark may feel overwhelming in the moment, it does not define us. It is a temporary state, a passage, not a destination. When we summon the courage to step into it, we begin to see the light waiting on the other side. And as we walk through the darkness, we discover that we have more strength and resilience than we ever thought possible. Self-compassion is one of the most profound and transformative practices we can embrace in our lives. In a world that often encourages perfection, achievement, and constant self-improvement, it can be easy to overlook the importance of being kind to ourselves. But the healing power of self-compassion lies in its ability to nurture and restore, helping us to heal from emotional wounds, overcome setbacks, and cultivate a deeper sense of peace and contentment. It is the gentle act of offering ourselves the same care, understanding, and forgiveness that we would offer to a loved one, especially during times of difficulty or failure. Self-compassion begins with the recognition that we are human, that we too deserve the same kindness and understanding that we often extend to others. It means accepting our imperfections, our flaws, and our mistakes without judgment or criticism. So often we hold ourselves to unattainably high standards, and when we inevitably fall short, we respond with harsh self-criticism. But self-compassion encourages us to release that inner critic and instead embrace ourselves with love and understanding. It is about recognizing that we are not defined by our failures, but by our willingness to keep trying, to keep growing, and to keep learning. The healing power of self-compassion also lies in its ability to alleviate the pain of self-judgment. Many of us struggle with feelings of inadequacy, guilt, or shame. We may carry the weight of past mistakes or disappointments, which often results in emotional distress and self-doubt. When we practice self-compassion, we create a space in which we can acknowledge our pain without judgment. Instead of berating ourselves for our shortcomings, we offer ourselves compassion and comfort, much like we would to a friend who is hurting. This shift in perspective can lead to profound healing as we begin to understand that our worth is not contingent on our achievements or on meeting the expectations of others. We are worthy of love and acceptance simply because we exist. Self-compassion is also an antidote to the pervasive culture of comparison that many of us face today. In the age of social media, it's easy to fall into the trap of measuring our lives against the seemingly perfect lives of others. We may feel that we don't measure up or that we are not enough. But self-compassion invites us to stop comparing ourselves to others and to honor our unique journey. It reminds us that everyone has their own path to walk with its own challenges, setbacks, and triumphs. When we practice self-compassion, we are less likely to fall into the trap of self-criticism and instead embrace our own story with kindness and grace. Self-compassion is an essential tool for building resilience. Life can be challenging, and we all face moments of difficulty or disappointment. In these times, it can be easy to fall into despair or to give up. But when we practice self-compassion, we are better equipped to face adversity with a sense of kindness and understanding toward ourselves. Rather than beating ourselves up or becoming discouraged, self-compassion allows us to approach life's challenges with a mindset of patience, forgiveness, and encouragement. We learn that setbacks are a natural part of the human experience and that it is okay to stumble. What matters is our ability to get back up, to learn from our experiences, and to continue forward with compassion for ourselves. The healing power of self-compassion extends beyond our internal world. It also improves our relationships with others. When we treat ourselves with kindness, we are more likely to extend that same compassion to those around us. Our ability to be understanding and non-judgmental with ourselves creates a deeper capacity for empathy, enabling us to offer support and love to others without expecting perfection or demanding that they meet our standards. Self-compassion also helps us set healthier boundaries as we learn to honor our own needs and recognize that it is okay to take care of ourselves first. The practice of self-compassion is a gift that keeps giving. The more we offer ourselves love and kindness, the more we experience healing, peace, and growth. It is through self-compassion that we learn to embrace our humanity, to let go of shame, and to forgive ourselves for our mistakes. It allows us to heal emotional wounds, rebuild our self-esteem, and cultivate a deep sense of worthiness and self-acceptance. In a world that often values achievement over being, self-compassion teaches us that our worth is not defined by what we do, but by who we are. Pain is an inevitable part of the human experience, something that no one can escape. It is a universal force, one that touches all of us at various points in our lives. Whether it's physical pain, emotional heartache, or the deep sorrow of loss, pain has a way of breaking us down and leaving us feeling vulnerable. Yet while pain can feel like an overwhelming and isolating experience, it also holds within it an extraordinary opportunity for growth, transformation, and self-discovery. The opportunity in pain is not always immediately apparent, but it is always there, waiting to be uncovered when we are ready to face it. One of the greatest opportunities that pain offers is the chance to deepen our understanding of ourselves. When we are in pain, we are often forced to confront parts of ourselves that we may otherwise avoid: the hidden fears, the unmet needs, or the unresolved emotions that we push aside in our everyday lives. Pain creates a kind of stillness within us, forcing us to slow down and examine what's truly going on inside. It can be a doorway to greater self-awareness as we begin to uncover what is truly important to us, what we are afraid of, and what we need in order to heal. This self-reflection, while difficult, can lead to a more authentic life, one that is aligned with our true values and desires. Pain also provides the opportunity to build resilience. Resilience is not something that we are simply born with, but something we cultivate through our experiences, particularly through adversity. Each time we face pain, whether it's a personal setback, a loss, or a difficult challenge, we are given the chance to strengthen our inner resolve. Though it may not feel like it in the moment, every experience of pain teaches us that we can endure. It shows us that we are capable of withstanding hardship, of coming out on the other side stronger, wiser, and more equipped to handle whatever life throws our way. Pain, in this sense, becomes a powerful teacher, showing us that we have an incredible capacity for endurance and growth. Pain can serve as a catalyst for change. It is often in our darkest moments that we are pushed to reevaluate our lives, our choices, and the direction we are headed. When everything feels uncertain, or when we hit rock bottom, we are given a chance to reassess what really matters to us. Pain can be a wake-up call, signaling to us that we need to make a shift, whether that's in our relationships, our career, or overall life path. In the face of pain, we may find the courage to let go of what no longer serves us, to make difficult decisions, or to take risks we might have avoided. In this way, pain is not just something we endure, but something that can inspire us to create positive change in our lives. Another profound opportunity in pain is the chance to connect more deeply with others. When we go through pain, we often feel isolated, as though no one else can truly understand what we are experiencing. But the truth is that pain is something that connects us all. Everyone has experienced some form of suffering in their lives, and when we open ourselves up to others during times of pain, we can find solidarity, empathy, and support. Sharing our pain with others and offering our support when others are in pain fosters deep, meaningful connections. Pain reminds us that we are not alone in our struggles and that through our vulnerability, we can build stronger, more compassionate relationships. Pain offers the opportunity to discover our inner strength and capacity for compassion. When we go through difficult times, we are often surprised by how strong we can be. We find reserves of courage, perseverance, and grace that we didn't know existed within us. Pain also opens our hearts to the suffering of others, increasing our capacity for empathy and understanding. The compassion we develop through our own experiences of pain allows us to show up for others in ways that we might not have been able to otherwise. We learn that pain, while incredibly challenging, can ultimately bring us closer to the humanity of others and to our own capacity for kindness and understanding. The opportunity in pain lies in how we choose to approach it. Pain, while inevitable, does not have to define us or break us. It can be a gateway to profound growth, a chance to redefine ourselves, and an invitation to create meaningful change. By embracing pain rather than running from it, we discover the strength, resilience, and compassion that lie within us. Pain may not be easy, but it holds the potential to lead us toward a deeper, more authentic life if we allow it to.